All right, in this problem, we have another equation that we need to solve. Now, how many answers do we expect to get out of this guy?
3.
What tells you there need to be 3 answers?
Power.
The degree of this polynomial is 3. Now, what are the steps that we take when we're solving? What's the thought process?
Would it factor?
Would that factor? So, would that factor? Is this something that would factor?
Not equal.
No? Well, you know what? This looks like something familiar to
You
me.
could do the divided of 2.
I could do the what?
You could,
Separate into the 2 groups?
yeah.
Like if we're using groups to factor? Man, what was that thing called? Factoring by grouping. There you go. So if I factor by grouping, and I look at this first group right here, what's the common factor?
4.
There you go. Piece by piece, we're going to get there. The common factor is 4x squared. If I take out 4x squared, what do I have?
X minus 3.
I get x minus 3. Now remember, if we're going to factor by grouping, we kind of hope that x minus 3 is in the other guy, right? So what's the common factor in the second group, which is a negative 3x plus 9? Remember how I feel about bidding out with the negatives? So negative 3 is my common factor, and then what's left? X minus 3. Do y'all agree?
Maybe.
Okay. Now, am I done factoring?
Yes.
No! This is just my thought process for factoring by grouping. Because to be factored, it has to be completely, it must be completely written using multiplication, but it's not because of the minus there. So when I finish this guy, there's my common factor of x minus 3 that I write out front. And then what's the other part?
4 squared minus 3.
4x squared minus 3, and this equals 0. Do y'all agree? Now, according to the zero factor theorem, I've got to finish solving these guys and set them equal to 0. So that means I'm going to take this guy, x minus 3 equals 0, which means x equals what?
3.
X equals 3. Well, that's one solution, right? How many more do I need to find? I need to find 2 more. Do you think I'll be able to find 2 more?
Possibly.
What's this maybe possibly business? You know that we can. I am the captain of this ship. We'll find everything that our hearts desire. When I take this other factor, excuse me, when I take this other factor, 4x squared minus 3 equals 0. Now, how many solutions do I get from this factor?
2. Oh, I'm sorry.
You're right, I get 2.
Oh.
Now look at this equation. This is the only place that contains the variable. Isolated. When I get x squared by itself, what does it equal?
Negative 3.
Wouldn't you add 3 to both sides and then divide both sides by 4? Right? But that's x squared. I don't want x squared. I want what? So I will use what? Use the square root property. Don't forget your plus or minus. Otherwise, you won't have all of your solutions. So this means that x equals what? You can do better than that. The square root of 3 is the square root of 3, but what about that denominator? That's just 2. So you've got your other 2 answers. Now, if we were to list all of our answers using set notation, you would see something that looks like this. X, our solutions, will be the set that contains the square root of 3, negative square root of 3 over 2. It contains the positive square root of 3 over 2. And it also has the solution 3. Now, you don't have to write it like this. You can leave it just like we have up here with these 2.
So you don't want us to break down the x plus minus whatever to break it up into two? Can we just leave it like that?
This guy?
No,
No, she's talking about the answer.
the solution.
Yeah, you can leave it like I have it here. But I'm just saying if you're doing things in my math lab or interactmath.com, and even some exams as multiple choice, you'll see the answers listed, and so you need to be able to. You want to make sure that you understand what the individual numbers look like.